A sly grin spread across his lips, his next words silencing the two thugs. 100 question marks bombarded her, shock rendering her speechless. Hyen Mu suddenly landed, capturing both of their attention. He informed them of the presence of 3 hunters with skull tattoos nearby. Hearing this, he fell into deep thought. It turned out they were the reason behind the chaos. In Chong frowned, confused by his meaning. He quickly clarified. They were the ones who ambushed Demetrius right after we stepped through the gate. Get ready. Still hesitant, she asked again. Are we going to engage those hunters? Wouldn't it be better to avoid them? Jun Ji replied in a low voice. Normally, yes, but these guys are different. I have this. A thick gray smoke billowed, staining the sky black. A raging fire erupted in the middle of the vast forest. 3 men were tied tightly to a tree trunk. 2 shadows, one large and one small, were clearly visible on the ground. Dmitri and George stood silhouetted against the blazing sky. Confusion was evident on his face. I've been tracking the underdog flame, he said. But these bastards, are they AI? He observed the bound group, then spoke. They belonged to Boson. The unfamiliar name made him furrow his brows in suspicion. Boson, the bald man with a skull tattoo on his temple, listened anxiously to every word George said. George explained about a criminal organization operating underground in North Africa. They're known to be a brutal, bloodthirsty bunch, he said. They're heavily involved in drug trafficking and child abduction. And that... He shifted his gaze to Dmitri. Are the ones who attack you as soon as you step through the gate. He scowled, his eyes darkening as he looked at the 3 bound men. His terrifying gaze sent them into a panicked frenzy. Please don't kill us, they pleaded. We know we were wrong. The hunter breathed a sigh of relief when he saw him crack a smile. Hey, I don't hate those who will stop at nothing to win. On the contrary, I rather enjoy such individuals. The smile on his lips suddenly twisted, his eyes flashing with a terrifying killing intent. As long as they follow the rules, that's enough. The Demon King's memoirs clearly state that ambushing an opponent right after they enter the gate is a particularly serious offense, strictly forbidden in the Great War. Demetrios tightened his magic-infused fist, letting out a scoff. Remember to follow the rules in your next life. An earth-shattering explosion shook the entire forest. Rocks and dust billowed up in all directions. The system announcement rang out. The monster tamer approves of your action. The dust still thick in the air. George crossed his arms, watching Demetrios gloat over his handiwork. He closed his eyes and sighed. The rules of SAO, you've completely ignored Olympus's orders. Just a single touch could send him to the afterlife. So, I suggest you reconsider your words. What if he finds out and feels insulted? Regardless, that underdog is certainly an interesting individual. Suddenly, Josh's eyes snapped open with alertness. I think I can consider this a gift. 2 mysterious hunters appeared on the left arm of the man in black. A familiar skull tattoo was visible. Immediately after, a hostile crowd, weapons brandished, charged in their direction. Dmitri stepped forward with relish, a surge of magic gathering around him. Are these guys the accomplices of those 2? I think I'm not the only one consumed by this fervent desire. This Kangru. Power surged violently, and he let out a thrilled laugh. I truly appreciate this gift. The hunter's charred body lay motionless on the ground. George surveyed the corpses scattered before him. He exclaimed in a bored tone, Your hobbies are quite bizarre. Glancing at his teammate, he remarked, Can't you use a weapon? It's tiring watching this. George disliked Demetrius for one reason only. He was too powerful. A murderous aura still lingered in the air. The white ice on his hands turned crimson red. He looked at him with disdain. You should use your bare hands to fully experience the hunt. A coward like you will never understand. Demetrius wasn't just insane. He was a true warrior, consumed by a primal urge to fight and conquer. Once he stepped in a battle, he became a bloodthirsty demon. Despite the blood splattered across his face and body, Demetrius said excitedly, Now let's go meet him. Therefore, George was incredibly worried about Demetrius facing underdog. The sun began to set, painting the dense foliage a deep crimson. Shadows stretched and deepened. Jun Jiayang and Inchong walked leisurely beneath the ancient trees. Suddenly, Inchong spoke, his voice grave, a powerful magical force. Perhaps we're in a boss monster's territory. She was surprised when Jun Jiayang raised his hand, interrupting her. The young man closed his eyes, sensing, I think there's a hunter nearby. Not an enemy, There's no scent of blood mixed in with this magical force. Just then, a group of strangers appeared before them. Two of them, dressed in distinctive traditional clothing, spoke. "So you're underdog? Aren't you late? We've been waiting for you for a long time." Jun Jiayong thought to himself, "Waiting for me?" Then he asked, "Waiting for me? What do you mean?" His attitude made the other young man hesitate slightly. "Weren't you sent by Asgard?" Yoon Kyung replied firmly, "Is." The two men turned and whispered amongst their companions. The young man stepped forward, his voice clear. "I'm Inep from Nin. We've been waiting here to assist you. But it seems you haven't grasped the situation yet. This great battle has been decided. Victory belongs to Asgard." Jun Jung was silent, his mind filled with questions. Nin, in Egypt, an international guild like Asgard and Olympus? Inep continued, "I'm not sure what happened to Olympus. Although the journey here was arduous, we persevered and waited to ensure your victory." He thought to himself, so this is how Choi Jangsong was able to win the Great War. It was because of this. He gestured to the others with him. "We will support you both. So, let's take down the boss together now. If only two people fight, I'm afraid it will be incredibly difficult." Yungu flatly refused. "No, I will defeat Demetria myself." This declaration shocked everyone. What? Even Inep and Numek, his companions, couldn't believe their ears. Inchong glanced at his friend, a pensive expression on his face. "Victory just by defeating the final boss. It's as if we're nothing but Odin's obedient hounds, always following his orders without question." The girl's eyes widened in confusion. Why are they all so surprised? The boy turned, slowly explaining. "It seems this great battle was prearranged, that Asgard would be the ultimate victor. That's the reason initially they planned to help us defeat the boss." The girl continued. "So, avoiding a fight with Demetriad and focusing on defeating the boss to secure victory is the surest path to winning this great battle. You agree, don't you, Yeo?" But everyone was astonished when I announced my intention to destroy Demetriad. Giant frowned, lost in thought. Wouldn't Trang object to this audacious plan? She cheerfully agreed. "Fantastic. Let's do this together. Do you have a plan?" "I'll act according to the strategy we discussed." His comrade's unwavering attitude brought a confident smile to his face. He thought to himself, she truly is someone I can rely on. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. "I'm out." They both turned towards the sound as another person raised their hand. "I quit too." Another group echoed the sentiment. "We won't participate in this fight. I don't want to get hurt just for facing Demi. Where's Cheese?" Everyone around began to murmur and protest vehemently. Why did Asgard send a coward like this here? "I agree. Let's retreat from this gate." Inep interrupted the argument. "The boss is a giant lion of the Catalan species, but he's much larger and more powerful. I won't fight Demetrius. However, I can at least offer you some information." Numek refused to participate in the fight. "I'm withdrawing as well." The other hunters agree with this decision. "We'll stand back and observe what happens." Junji and Inchong felt helpless in the face of the situation. She said we should go back to the starting point. He smiled, comforting her. "It's okay. Let's keep moving forward." Night gradually fell, and the trees were swallowed by the darkness. Numek anxiously asked Inipi, "What do you think will happen?" He responded thoughtfully, "It's going to be very difficult, but considering what he's been through, his power is extraordinary." A rising star suddenly appeared in Korea. He was even considered one of the strongest hunters there. Junji bravely faced the giant centipede alone. He conquered the Han River Gate, an extremely unique and dangerous gate. He's so resilient. Kwang bravely faced a vast, overwhelming corporation. Cornered, the rookie single-handedly wiped out the entire Northern Army Guild, a notorious guild known for its superior strength. He has a close, deep relationship with Hindu, a key figure holding a crucial position within Asgard. The image of Hyojin flashed, a chilling, enigmatic smile playing on his lips. He continued his sharp analysis, and with just a glance, Odin was completely captivated by him. With a serious expression, Odin remarked, "In terms of potential, he could possibly be on par with the Dark Organization itself." Numake's eyes widened in astonishment, his face full of shock. "What? Impossible." He smiled enigmatically, his intentions unreadable. "That's precisely why we chose to step back and observe. Doing so will allow us to assess him accurately. What kind of show will this underdog put on?" When faced with such an overwhelming hero, Demetrius is what? We, and all the hunters out there, are eagerly anticipated. The sky was a dusky twilight, punctuated by a few flickering embers. A majestic lion with massive horns appeared, its eyes filled with murderous intent. Before it stood two small humans, seemingly incredibly vulnerable. A notification suddenly popped up. You are facing Catalan. Catalan roared earth-shatteringly, unleashing a terrifying power like a lightning bolt. The system immediately issued a warning. Your abilities have been slightly weakened by Catalan's terrifying pressure. June braced himself against the opponent's ferocious attack. A message continuously popped up. You have successfully resisted. Your abilities have been fully restored. You have achieved the title, Catalan Resistor. The ground where he had just stood was shattered and blasted apart by the immense pressure. Catalan charged towards its prey. June shouted out loud, his voice filled with determination. I'll take the left. In Hyong, attack from the right. Conserve your energy. The girl focused her energy and rushed forward, responding to the command. Understood. Hyeonmu will provide support too. I'll aim for its belly. We'll attack from 3 different directions. The 3-pronged attack was launched simultaneously. The colossal monster opened its gaping maw, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth, ready to devour the 3 small beings. Just then, Katie Lin lunged forward with lightning speed, a blur of motion. At the same time, Kang unleashed a deadly sword strike towards the monster. But unfortunately, it sensed the attack and immediately retaliated with a powerful back kick, to everyone's astonishment. Kang was struck by a critical blow from Katie Lin. Although she managed to raise her sword in defense, she was still stunned by the sheer force. An overwhelming surge of energy erupted from Young-eun, who seized the opportunity to rush to In Chang's aid with his weapon. But in the blink of an eye, she was sent flying by the monster. A cloud of dust and debris billowed up. Young-eun quickly retreated to avoid the impact. Hyeonmu instantly unleashed his own energy, creating a formidable surge of power to assist the others. The energy blast struck Catalan's remaining eye. Thanks to this, the other 2 were able to land safely. Young-eun turned to Kang with a worried expression. Don't push yourself too hard. You hear me. We still have 1 critical mission left to deal with Dmitri. Meanwhile, a ferocious battle rages, its devastating power shaking the very earth. Everyone nearby is caught in the horrific blast, knocked unconscious. A surge of mana engulfs a mysterious man. His arms are stained crimson with blood, as if he has brutally tortured someone. Dmitriad, in a fit of rage, chokes his opponent, his eyes burning with dark intensity. I will continue to destroy those like you, he snarls, while I search for that man's flame. He violently throws the man aside, then turns to George. Thanks. George cautiously advises, you should conserve your energy. You still have the battle you've been longing for. At these words, Dmitriad erupts in fury, his eyes widening as he roars. Shut up. Witnessing this, George breaks out in a cold sweat, doubt filling his mind. Is he losing his mind to his own bloodlust to gain such terrifying power? The deeper Dmitriad descended into his frenzy, lost in his thirst for blood, the more lives he claimed. Amidst the eerily silent forest, George remained lost in his own thoughts. Could it be possible that the new recruit had seen through the turmoil in George's heart and intentionally left these men here for him? No, such a preposterous thing couldn't be true. This was top secret information, classified. Even Olympus held this as a secret unknown to even the great Odin of Asgard. He then spoke sternly, calling out, Dmitriad. His eyes were bloodshot, crazed, consumed by rage. He slowly raised his head, fixing a cold gaze upon him. Finally, his eyes calmed slightly, and he asked, What is it? He asked suspiciously. Are you sure you're in your right mind? He asserted confidently. I told you, don't worry. I have my bloodlust under control. Suddenly, a powerful surge of energy erupted from the other side. Dmitri had witnessed the scene and smirked. Now it's time for the main course. George was lost in thought. He was one of Olympus' bravest warriors, and one of the few S-rank hunters in the entire world. Then, a confident smile spread across his face. I believe in you. Demetrios, let's go. Catalan is closing in. Trang, witnessing this, was so stunned she froze in place. So we did it. June replied with a doubtful expression. Maybe. Soudainly, a tremendous explosion éruptait. Terrifying energy from the blast shot into the sky. Catalan, majestic with unmatched and seemingly endless power, slowly walked towards the two. Suddenly, a horde of Catalan rushed with incredible speed towards the altar above. Numek, witnessing this, cried out in terror. That's unbelievable. That it defeated that boss with only 2 people. Inep exclaimed in astonishment. And it seems they're reacting to the dark magic emanating from Katie Lawn. The lions begin to surround the alpha lion under Catalan's command. He bends down, carefully observing and analyzing the situation. Normally, the optimal tactic would be to focus all attacks on the alpha as relentlessly as possible, while it's overwhelmed by the transformation process. But why did that rookie stop attacking? Back to the battle. Inni has also come up with his own strategy. I can feel the intense, demonic energy deep within my bones. Is this going to be all right? We're doing great, aren't we? Junhyang agrees. Yeah, you just remembered, right on time for the main character to show up. At that moment, Demetrius suddenly dives down with incredible speed. He crashes into the ground, creating a massive crater. He stands up, a proud and confident smirk spreading across his face. He had a smug look on his face. It's time for you to keep fighting. George followed close behind, issuing a warning. I told you to wait for me. Suddenly, he leaped high into the air. Then they all ran together, fleeing Catalan's relentless pursuit. Witnessing the scene before them, the group was horrified. What is this? They seemed unable to believe what they were seeing. Could it be? It roared furiously. Its entire body erupted with crimson lightning. Then it shot forward. The terrifying impact cracked the ground around it, sending debris flying everywhere. A violent tremor spread out, so powerful that everyone was pushed back. Catalan stood motionless, as if deep in thought. Then it opened its mouth wide and let out an earth-shattering roar. The sound echoed like the roar of a lion calling its pride. They all charged to attack. Everyone quickly drew their weapons, preparing to fight, exclaiming, "Those 2 are terrifying." The boss was completely engulfed in terrifying power. His own magic. He's completely lost his mind. Catalan roared furiously, his mouth full of sharp fangs, lunging forward with a deadly kick. Demetrius clenched his fists, ready to meet the attack. He laughed excitedly. Ha! Good, very good. Jun Jiayong and his comrades stood on a towering cliff, carefully observing the battle unfolding below. He thoughtfully remarked, "Thanks to Demetrius' timely arrival, we were able to escape danger. But I'm afraid this situation won't last long." Suddenly, a vial of mysterious ruby-colored liquid appeared in his hand. Injang curiously noticed Jun Jiayong's actions. "What are you doing?" Jun Jiayong remained focused on his task, replying briefly, "This is a secret weapon." As soon as the liquid in the vial was poured onto the spear immediately blazed with a bright crimson light. At the same time, an announcement rang out. The Muspel spear has been temporarily enhanced. The precious gem on the spear's hilt was gradually absorbing the powerful energy from the pink liquid. The system continued to display information. Blood Dragon Stone is covering the red magic stone. This announcement greatly surprised Jun Jiayong. Monster Blood is covering the red magic stone? What the hell is going on? At that moment, Jun Jiayong hadn't foreseen the consequences of the Blood Dragon Stone enveloping the red magic stone. He stood up, gripping his spear tightly, which was now enveloped in a mysterious pinkish-purple energy. The sight before her filled Inchong with extreme worry. It seemed the situation was very dangerous. The mysterious power swirling around him intensified. He raised his weapon in a throwing stance, responding to her. But this is our only chance. Katie focused all her strength, forming a brilliant orb of energy in front of her horn. Then, the orb was launched, creating a blinding purple light. At the same time, Dimitri unleashed his attack, shoot up the abyss free, unleashing a massive, ferocious pillar of fire that surged forward. 2 opposing energies, one blazing red, the other deep violet, collided violently, creating a cataclysmic explosion. Demetrius's ferocious wave of fire, carrying destructive power, pierced through Catalan's defenses, shattering his attack. The powerful blow landed squarely on Catalan's face, stunning him. A cunning glint flashed in Jun's eyes. He thought to himself, "This is my chance." Maintaining his attack stance, he spoke arrogantly. Well, what do you think? This is my ultimate technique. Predator's roar. He roared with power. Hearing a strange noise, he turned his head cautiously to look behind him. A sharp spear hurtled towards him with incredible speed, aimed directly at him. What is this? He gasped in terror. George suddenly appeared, intercepting the deadly spear in front of him. He deflected the blow with a wave of his hand, displaying extraordinary strength. The spear was flung away, embedding itself deeply into the ground. Looking in the direction the spear flew, George calmly said, "This is why I told you to bring a weapon." Demetrius scratched his head in confusion. Oh, right. Demetrius's naive action made George smile. This kid, he looked towards his teammates, his expression turning serious. Underdog's spear seems very different from the usual ones. I have a bad feeling, he muttered, his face filled with worry. Perhaps its power is even comparable to the mighty roar of a predatory beast. But he paid no attention to these words, unfazed by such an attack. This guy is such a nuisance. He's like a buzzing fly. A surge of power exploded around Demetrius, and he exclaimed excitedly, "Then I'll deal with this annoying fly first. I'll go hunt my real prey." With that, he shot off, leaving George alone behind. George frowned and nodded. A powerful energy surged around him. He turned around, looking towards Injang. "Do you think I acted recklessly?" Injang remained silent, her hand gripping her sword tightly. She asked coldly, "What do you mean?" Without waiting for George's reply, she immediately leaped forward. A murderous glint flashed in Injang's eyes. She tightened her grip on her weapon and charged straight towards her target. Just before her sharp blade descended, he nimbly leaped back, successfully dodging the attack. George swung his sword, launching a lightning-fast strike. She instantly leaned to the side, narrowly avoiding the sharp blade. Without pausing, he continued his relentless assault, unleashing a chilling wave of emerald green magic. Injang furrowed her brow, her expression serious. She steadily blocked his flurry of attacks. A sharp glint, hinting at danger, flashed in her eyes. She raised her hand, potent spiritual energy converging around her, forming a swirling vortex of immense power that enveloped her blade. George's eyes widened in astonishment. She's gathering energy at such close range? How foolish. He raised his sword, a scornful look on his face, thinking, this ends now. Hyunmu suddenly appeared. From its mouth, a torrent of ferocious magical energy erupted, the powerful force striking George squarely in the back, causing him to stumble and lose his balance. In that instant, Injang unleashed her attack, roaring furiously. A surge of violent purple energy exploded, engulfing everything in a blinding dust cloud. A terrifying energy blast erupted. George frantically searched for her. Did she run away? He couldn't understand. She should have taken advantage of his lapse in concentration to deliver a fatal blow. But why would she run? And that strange liquid that shot out of the skull, why was it so viscous and sweet-smelling? Could it be? Josh suddenly looked straight ahead. He focused his magic power into his fist. A horde of hideous monsters were charging towards him. Pheromone monsters? Josh guessed. They must have used some kind of special poison for these kinds of hunts. You won't escape me. Elsewhere, a fierce battle was raging. A relentless barrage of attacks rained down. Junjung was astonished. How could Demetrios remain so calm against such a ferocious monster? He couldn't believe his eyes. He can wield a katana? He's absorbing demonic energy. This is unbelievable. Is he really strong enough to make the impossible possible? Impossible. Suddenly, Inkang appears behind him. Junji whirls around. It seems she's managed to restrain Odysseus's arm. She gently lifts the skull. Yi Hyunmu helped me greatly. What's the plan? We have to finish everything before Odysseus returns. Inkang replies, I understand. Demetrius's delighted laughter rings out. Gee-ha-ha. He seems to have gone mad. Magnificent. Truly magnificent. His eyes are gradually consumed by a dark power. Junji notices it. He's starting to think. Looks like he's slowly gaining control. But I have to be absolutely certain that he'll lose control soon, he thought to himself. Junji reiterated the mission. Stick to the plan. You're in charge of stopping Caitlyn, and I'll handle Dimitriad. Junji focused his energy. No need to defeat him. I just need to slow him down. With a single blow. Let's begin. Dimitriad was still fiercely battling the monster. He flung it away. He glanced at it with disdain. Is that all you've got? Boom! The ground cracked under the force of his tremendous magic. He charged forward, but a small spark suddenly ignited. Dimitriad was drawn to the flames. They were spreading with incredible speed. Unbelievable, he roared furiously. The rookie soldier, Jun Jiang, suddenly appeared, summoning his weapon, ready for battle. You dare challenge me? Why wouldn't you face me head-on? Demetrios rubbed the back of his neck, a thrill in his smile. Now I'm starting to get interested. Good, if that's what you want. Then unleash your power and let the games begin. Jun said worriedly. Boss, be careful. Indeed. Let's proceed according to plan. He scoffed. You fool. What do you think you can do to me? You think you can stop me with a few paltry spells and that weak magic gathered in that shield? I'll show you the extent of your foolishness. He channeled energy into the shield. Inep, standing outside, exclaimed with worry. Does he have any idea about the terrifying power of Demetrios? Even though he's absorbed an incredible amount of energy into his shield, it'll be difficult to withstand. The Thunder Rhino, the skill that made him famous. Demetrios charged with terrifying speed, shattering everything in his path. He unleashed a direct punch at the shield. But immediately, he sensed something was wrong. Demetrius froze, stunned to realize Junjung was gone. Demetrius quickly looked up. Junjung, spear in hand, had appeared above him without warning. He unleashed a devastating attack with all his might. The sharp spear pierced Demetrius's left shoulder. Unfazed, Demetrius retaliated with a powerful magical punch. The punch landed squarely, hitting Junjung directly. He was sent flying. Demetrius rubbed the wound on his shoulder. Are you trying to fool me? With that pathetic energy inside that shield? Demetrius laughed arrogantly. Ha ha ha, you're just a rookie. Get up and entertain me. Junjung pondered silently. I've taken too much damage already. He taunted Demetrius. Hey, Demetrius, are you all right? He remained silent. Are you getting cocky because you gave me these few scratches? My body will regenerate itself shortly. Just as he finished speaking, he suddenly stumbled. The wounds on his body began to grotesquely distort. This is poison. There's a saying that goes like this. Read or gave birth to a goblin sorcerer. Jun Jiayang refuted that. The full saying is, read or is known for two functions, liberation and Demetrius screamed in agony. At the last part of the saying, a brilliant crimson crystal pulsed with light. The red magic stone can grant monsters immense power, surpassing even that of a boss. Unbridled ambition led humanity to conduct countless studies on this mysterious red magic stone. Two doctors were debating about the stone. Animals will transform into monsters. A small white rabbit, upon absorbing the stone's power, transformed into a gigantic rabbit. The monster even possessed power comparable to a true boss. And because of this, the red Philosopher's Stone was given its first name, Liberation. Not long after, the brutal experiments continued on the hunters. A doctor prepared to inject a mysterious solution into a hunter. Right before his eyes, the red Philosopher's Stone help them unlock the hidden potential within their bodies. With lightning-fast speed, the hunter's eyes blazed with a fiery red glow, his entire being seemingly undergoing a terrifying transformation. But because humans could lose their lives in the frenzy, the use of the red Philosopher's Stone was quickly forbidden. The hunter turned, his eyes filled with rage. And so, the red Philosopher's Stone gained a new name. Madness, a cold skull. Seemingly burning in a sea of hatred. The sky gradually, a thick cloud of smoke billowed, violently shaking the surrounding forest. Jun Jiayang's entire body seemed to be enveloped in some kind of mysterious energy. He thought to himself, what a terrifying magic power. It felt as if the entire Catalan mountain range was trembling violently. Suddenly, a shout echoed throughout the space. Underdog, what have you done? Hearing the call, he slowly turned his head to look. George stood there, a gleaming longsword in his hand, his sharp eyes fixed on him. Recognizing the newcomer, Jun Jiang warned, if you dare come any closer, you will die. Hearing this, George roared in fury. Jun Jiang knew that. In the blink of an eye, George would vanish from his current position. As quick as lightning, he lunged towards Dmitri, who was engulfed in flames. Dmitri and Jun Jiayang also quickly left their positions. Jun Jiang leaped high, dashing in another direction, thinking to himself, damn it, it's about to happen again. An image of Dmitri flashed through his mind. He will end George's life. In the future, this tragedy actually unfolded. Demetrius lost his mind, consumed by a furious rage, and George Odysseus, the hero who bravely rushed forward to stop him, was brutally murdered by his own hand. A pillar of fire erupted violently, scorching the sky. A torrent of flames rushed towards George, forcing him to quickly dodge. He immediately swung his sword, countering the flames the boy had created. George yelled in a panic, "Get back!" He lost control not long ago, so we still have a chance to help him regain his senses. June also shouted, trying to intervene, "Stop! Even you can't do this. I can't let you die like this." He used the spear in his hand, blocking the sharp blade that Josh swung down. He quickly explained, "I have a plan." Hearing that, he paused for a moment. "What?" Both sides temporarily ceased fighting. Jack quickly got to the point. "I don't trust you, but I'll hear out your plan." Yun replied firmly, "I just need 5 minutes. We have to find a way to hold Demetrius back for that time." Hearing this, his eyes widened in astonishment. 5 minutes? You really think you can stop a raging Demetrius for a mere 5 minutes? He's coming at us like a wildfire. Demetrius's entire body erupted with immense energy. He was charging straight toward a gigantic claw. The earth-shattering collision between the two created a cataclysmic explosion. Witnessing the scene, he seemed somewhat relieved. "All right, teacher Jang In-kang is luring him well." Jun Jiang spoke to the person facing him. "Catalan is on our side, too. We just need to hold out for 5 more minutes." Hearing his words, George sighed softly. "I don't understand what you're planning." His hand tightened around his sword. The power surrounding him began to surge wildly. "But it seems we have no other choice." In the silence, June concealed his intentions. The fragile limit of the red sealing stone can't hold forever, only a mere 5 minutes. If we can hold out for that short time, Demetrios will return to his original state. His eyes shone with unwavering determination. In the midst of this earth-shattering battle, I must be the one to claim final victory. Elsewhere, a group of people stared in horror at the body strewn before them. A trembling, panicked voice cried out, "What happened? What is this terrifying magical energy?" Another person quickly corrected, "This isn't Catalan's second phase." Suddenly, his face turned pale. "It's Herculean." He unleashed a devastating punch. George, quick as lightning, charged forward with his sword drawn. The colossal forces collided, shaking the very ground. Massive boulders were sent flying. A towering pillar of fire erupted, joining the chaotic battle. With lightning speed, he spun and dodged the attack. Demetrius instantly raised his fist to block the blow. From the other side, In-kang swung his sword, slashing down. Demetrius used his other hand to parry the sharp blade. Alone he stood, single-handedly withstanding the onslaught of furious energy. The battle raged with ferocious intensity. Among the onlookers, someone exclaimed, "Odysseus is fighting Hercules. This is madness. He's completely become a monster." In another corner, a different group of people were also chattering nervously. "I'm getting out of here. I don't care if I just watch or do something. I'm leaving. I don't want to die. I don't want to be torn apart here, either." Namek turned to the person opposite him and said, "Damn it. Why has this great battle become so chaotic? What are we going to do?" The other person softly replied, "The binding stone." She gasped, "What?" Inap's expression suddenly turned serious, a look of worry crossing his face. "It seems the red law stone has been activated. We must intervene immediately." The chaotic battle continued to rage fiercely. Demetrius was besieged by swirling energies. He struggled to withstand the overwhelming power. Then, he unleashed a powerful kick at In-chang. She was sent flying with terrifying force. But In-chang quickly regained her balance, struggling to steady herself. On the other side, George charged towards Demetrius, sword in hand, roaring, "Take this!" He lowered himself into a defensive stance, ready to meet the oncoming attack. George's sword and Demetrius' fist collided with a deafening boom. But Demetrius' power was terrifying. Cracks began to appear on George's blade. A searing pain made George cry out. Reaching a breaking point, energy exploded, sending George flying. Behind Demetrius, the image of a giant tiger materialized. Savage Beast had been activated. He leaped from his position with blinding speed. A stream of pure fire grazed Demetrius' shoulder. Jun Jiang rushed in like a whirlwind, pulling George out of the chaotic battle. They both quickly landed on the ground. George lay on the ground, panting, and asked him, "How much longer until it's been 5 minutes?" Jun Jiayong remained silent. Experiments have shown that 5 minutes is the maximum limit for an incomplete crimson law technique. He realized something was amiss. So why hasn't that monster run out of steam yet? His eyes suddenly widened. Dimitriad was charging towards them. A powerful voice boomed, "Maggots!" A torrent of water slammed directly into Dimitriad. Nomek and Inept, weapons at the ready, charged forward. "We're here to help." A moment later, Jun Jiang anxiously asked in Chong, "Are you all right?" She struggled to reply, "Yes, I'm Yufina." Despite her reassurance, a deep unease lingered within Junying's heart. It seemed Dong and Jiang was also exhausted, unable to hold on any longer. The young man gripped his weapon tightly, a burning desire consuming him. If only I were just a little stronger. Suddenly, the system activated. The blood flow within the blood dragon stone reversed, beginning a regeneration process from 0.3%. Junying was astonished by the miraculous sight. He covered his mouth, coughing up a mouthful of fresh blood. Inkang was startled as Junying stumbled. "Li Junying, are you all right?" she asked worriedly. The system displayed a notification once more. The blood within the blood dragon stone continued its reverse flow, regenerating energy, restoring up to 1%. Junying's grip on his weapon tightened with newfound resolve. A terrifying light flickered in his eyes. Junying roared, unleashing the dormant power within him. Inkang stared in disbelief. Li Junying, a blinding sphere of light, appeared, and thick smoke billowed around it. Inside the EP, In seemed to sense something unusual. Could it be? Nomek is, he started, as if finishing his teammate's thought. Is he in the same state as us? Suddenly, the Dimitriad system displayed another message. The blood flow within the blood dragon stone has reversed, a mechanical voice announced. Regeneration in progress. Estimated loss 2%. Jun Jiayong, who had been silent, began to contemplate. 5 minutes had passed. Why hasn't he snapped out of his frenzy yet, he wondered. The Dimitriad was still hurtling towards a fixed point. Jun Jiayong suddenly realized, is it the mana flow? He immediately crouched down into a launching stance. What will it be like, he thought to himself. Jun Jiayong channeled all his power into his legs. A powerful force, like a giant's punch, propelled him forward. Witnessing the sudden action, In yelled out in alarm. Jun Jiayong. He grabbed his weapon and charged towards the mouth of the colossal lion. Wild surges of energy roared around Jun Jiayong. Missing subtitle text. The divine weapon unleashed a cataclysmic surge of energy, then swung with a powerful, decisive strike. The blow created a terrifying earthquake, causing the system to display a series of congratulatory messages. You have slain Catalan. You have obtained 10 pure dewdrops of the ancient forest. You have achieved the title Bane of Beasts, Slayer of the King of the Jungle. Your power has significantly increased. You have leveled up. Jun Jiayong emerged triumphantly from the inferno when the system suddenly issued a warning. Guidance from a helper has been blocked. He was puzzled by this unexpected turn of events. A crimson array appeared beneath his feet, and mystical characters began to materialize on his arm. A barrage of warnings flashed before Jun Jiayong's eyes. You have been afflicted by demonic energy. Your life force is rapidly draining. Purge the demonic energy immediately. The intense burning sensation caused Jun Jiayong to scream in agony. Those terrifying and ferocious flames. Raging flames and torrential water enveloped him completely. These two terrifying energies emanated from Li Jun Jiayong's body, merging together in a spectacular display. The combined power began to spread, threatening to engulf the entire Catalan mountain range. A raging inferno consumed everything in its path, incinerating all. Both Cho Enzo and Li Hainsong collapsed in agony before the terrifying heat. Cho Enzo cried out in terror. This flame, is it absorbing my magic power? Then he questioned in disbelief. What in the world is going on? In the distance, Demetrius struggled to withstand the ferocious flames. A sinister smile spread across his face, his eyes gleaming with cruelty. Suddenly, a figure burst forth from the inferno. Junjong brandished his spear, his aura overwhelming. When the two forces collided, an earth-shattering explosion erupted. Immediately, the two engaged in a fierce battle. Powerful blows were exchanged relentlessly, without pause. Demetrius clenched his fist, preparing to unleash a fatal blow. Sensing the danger, Junjiang quickly assumed a counterattack stance. Another massive explosion erupted, engulfing the area in a thick cloud of smoke and dust. As the dust settled, Junjiang had pierced Demetrius's chest with his spear. He stood frozen, trembling uncontrollably in a state of shock. With a powerful kick, he sent the man flying, simultaneously yanking out his spear. Dmitri had coughed up a mouthful of black blood. Thick smoke and dust still filled the air. He was now missing an arm, blood gushing from the wound. Crimson drops of blood fell relentlessly. Witnessing the scene, Josh felt a pang of sympathy and approached to extract. He hesitated, about to say something regarding his arm, but before he could utter a word, the severed arm miraculously regenerated. A burst of green fire shot down from above. Athena appeared, shielding Demetrius. She coldly observed the scene before her. Witnessing what just transpired, George couldn't help but think to himself, he's using an immense amount of mana to instantly regenerate his body. If Demetrius can do this, how much more powerful is Underdog? Johnny Kang, the countless wounds that covered his body, were now completely healed without a trace. George was horrified, thinking to himself, those wounds were so severe. How could he recover so quickly? Could it be because of the mysterious blue flames surrounding that gate? Demetrius clenched his fists. A colossal face of fire suddenly materialized behind him, terrifyingly majestic. Junjiang reacted swiftly, leaping into the air, thrusting his spear forward with the terrifying speed of a raging storm. The fiery fist in Demetrius's hand expanded, radiating immense power. George stood frozen, his eyes wide with terror. His arm hadn't fully regenerated, but he still decided to use his ultimate technique, Predator's Roar. This is dangerous. That Predator's Roar technique. He's unleashing it with the ferocity of a massive tornado. Suddenly, blood spurted from Demetrius's arm. Junjiang had swiftly delivered a critical blow from above. An intense blaze erupted from the earth-shattering collision of their attacks. A cataclysmic explosion followed, devastating the surrounding landscape. George's sword clattered to the ground, lying still at his feet. He was paralyzed, utterly horrified, unable to believe what was happening. Inept, standing beside him, also had his eyes wide with disbelief. Had the Underdog actually won? Demetrius had collapsed, brought to his knees. Li Junjiang landed swiftly, flames still raging fiercely around him. He raised his spear, poised to finish Demetrius. George rushed forward in a panic to stop him, but Li Junjiang's reason had completely vanished. His eyes were bloodshot, vacant, and unfocused. Now, the only instinct left within him was survival and a thirst for violent slaughter. The Blood Dragon Stone had been tainted by the Red Forbidden Stone, the blood of the hunted monsters from before, mixed with Catalan's magic-infused blood, creating hybrid crystals. Li Junjiang would also erupt and lose control, just like the fate of those hunters who were experimented on with the Red Forbidden Stone. The sharp spear was poised to strike Demetrius when a brilliant pink energy surged forth, halting the spear in its tracks. Athena coldly commended Yun Knid. Giant jolted awake from his daze, immediately dropping to his knees. And King couldn't believe what he was witnessing. Those around them were equally astonished. This is Bao Junjiang. Jian rose and bowed respectfully. It is an honor to meet you, Athena. She frowned, her expression displeased. What a mess. Because of you, I have to bear this burden. But first, Athena glanced down, curiously asking, who is this? Yun hurriedly replied, this person is June. The young man couldn't finish his sentence when the other man opened his eyes wide, interrupting, he is the Underdog. Athena observed the person before her, thinking to herself, was all the impact on the gate caused by him alone? Interesting. My shield can barely withstand his terrifying power. Athena looked around, surveying the scene. The entire majestic Catalan mountain range was engulfed in a sea of destructive flames. Those demonic flames seemed to absorb magic from everything. She assessed Junjiang with a sharp gaze. At first, I thought he was just a new recruit, a green rookie sent by Asgard on a lucky streak. But unexpectedly, he surpassed even the great Hercules. A true threat loomed over Athena. She summoned her divine spear. This one must be eliminated right here. The spear emitted a brilliant purple electrical current. Athena lunged forward, thrusting her spear towards Junjiang, but a piercing sound abruptly stopped her. Athena turned her head. A brilliant rainbow light suddenly appeared in the sky. A man emerged from the light, leaving Athena utterly astonished. Shiva, what are you doing here? The destroyer, Zeus, roared in response. That's what I want to ask you. Athena said irritably, did you follow my lightning? Without a word, he shielded Junjung, his stance resolute. She shoved him aside furiously, snarling, that bastard must die here. CEO Gu spoke sternly. If you intend to kill him, I will consider it a declaration of war against Aska. Athena's face instantly turned cold and dark. She scoffed. A declaration of war? He's that important to you? How laughable. I thought nothing in this world held any value in your eyes. He remained silent. Inep spoke. Esteemed goddess Athena, please grant me a moment. I am Inep, a warrior from the land of Ni. Athena glanced at him. You are an Egyptian warrior? Inep placed a hand on his chest, bowing respectfully. Yes, goddess. It is an honor to be recognized by you. Goddess Athena, Inep began. We are under orders from Nin to protect Underdog. Athena was stunned. He possesses a mysterious eye. You must recognize it. It is the Eye of Osiris. Inep solemnly raised his eyes, looking straight ahead. Because right now, I am the representative for all of Nin Shell. Therefore, I ask you to accept Nin's earnest plea. The Athena system suddenly announced. The dimensional gate is about to collapse. It is activating and awarding a new skill. At a magnificent, opulent castle, looking through the clear glass window, the inside of a luxurious room was clearly visible. At this moment, In Chong was slumped in a chair, exhaustion etched on her face. She suddenly lifted her head as if realizing something. Then, she rushed to Li Junjiai's bedside. Tears welled up in In Chong's eyes as she whispered, "Thank goodness." Junjiai managed a faint groan, but inwardly, he realized something was wrong. His vocal cords seemed paralyzed. She softly explained, your body probably hasn't fully recovered yet. Please wait a moment. I'll go get someone right away. With that, she hurried out. He looked around, noticing a round shield and two swords placed side by side, and suddenly understood. This must be the legendary round table. June sank into deep thought. Not all skilled hunters form secret societies or clandestine organizations to manipulate the world. Many underground organizations operate in secrecy, created to pursue noble ideals and righteous goals. He continued his train of thought, and the Round Table is probably one of them. I suspect as much, yet they haven't intervened at all. They maintain their secrecy, hidden beneath a facade, operating in the shadows. Even with England on the brink of collapse, they continue their isolation. Despite possessing unparalleled power, earth-shattering strength, they make no effort to change the situation. He sighed heavily. Anyway, my body is now worn out, broken down like rubble. His body was consumed by relentless fatigue, utterly exhausted. His weary body couldn't utter a word. His legs couldn't even lift themselves. Suddenly, the system's voice rang out. Hyunwoo. Hyunwoo is fast asleep. Inwardly, he thought, if his guess was correct, then Hyunwoo's existence wasn't so important anymore. The status window appeared, revealing his current stats and level. Jun Jiang noticed his level remained above 50. However, his skills seemed to have significantly decreased. The cause was likely the influence of the hybrid crystal. He couldn't even speak. On the status window, new skills suddenly appeared. He was utterly astonished. Even absorbed. Skills as powerful as unique skills. Jun Jiang proudly thought, I'll amaze you even more, Jun Jiang. Sometime later, CEO Gu visited him. How are you feeling? Upon seeing him, he struggled to sit up, softly calling his name. He replied with a warm smile. I heard the magic infusion process is underway. It's a rare case, so there's currently no known cure or permanent solution for this condition. However, based on his current state, I don't believe we need to be overly concerned. Jun Jiang possesses a unique physique, coupled with the blessing of the revelation of the empty sky and an abundant mana flow. I'm confident that removing the excess magic power won't be a problem. Chairman Gu offered words of encouragement. Focus on your recovery. You'll make a full recovery. When you do, there are a few things I'd like to discuss with you. Meanwhile, before the Athena Council, a man issued a command. The power that Li Jun Jiang displayed is excessively dangerous and abnormal. I demand you immediately investigate the source of Li Jun Jiang's power. Songgu immediately retorted. The Asgardia Association has no right to interfere with the abilities of hunters. She interrupted him. But isn't it you who should be shedding light on this matter? Songgu didn't flinch. It was you who broke the treaty between Olympus and Asgardia, not us. The Asgardian Association has been committed to achieving a glorious victory in this great Ragnarok war. It is for this reason that we sent Hunter Sung Jinwoo to participate in the battle. Go-Gun, he recalled the image of Sung Jinwoo losing control, a relentless worry surfacing in his mind. If we had known beforehand that Heracles would participate and break the sacred covenant, we would absolutely not have sent Sung Jinwoo to this fierce battlefield. Under these unfortunate circumstances, Hunter Jinwoo was simply fulfilling the responsibility he carried. He firmly asserted, therefore, demanding clarification from you is completely unreasonable, and I believe that Olympus itself is the one that needs to provide a satisfactory explanation. Athena remained calm and composed. She stated, the power that Sung Jinwoo possesses is enough to pose an immeasurable threat. The goddess offered concrete evidence. The entire gate was engulfed in a terrifying sea of blue flames, and he even plundered the mana of other hunters. This is a development that was completely unforeseen. Athena resolutely affirmed her stance. Therefore, we demand you hand over the weak, newly recruited rookie. If you refuse this demand, Olympus will declare war on Asgard. Songgu fell silent, stunned by the declaration. CEO Go stepped forward to explain. We're fully aware of the danger posed by a flame that can absorb the mana of other hunters. This is an unprecedented ability and carries with it unforeseen risks. However, we don't believe she herself is inherently that dangerous. Isn't the very existence of a hunter already a risk? The room was stunned into silence, then erupted in murmurs. He continued, all of us, all hunters, are beings that never existed before, and the skills that hunters possess hold terrifying power, capable of harming anyone. CEO Go stated firmly, precisely, because you Olympians dared to issue a challenge. You will bear the consequences of your words. For those words showed contempt and disdain for the hunters. Athena gritted her teeth in anger. This is all your fault. Her face darkened. What in the world are you even doing here? Your presence. It infuriates me and clouds my thoughts. He looked at her, about to speak, but Athena turned and walked away. I hope we never cross paths again. Go-Gun, he felt a pang of confusion. System announcement. Mana flow has been activated. Jinwoo was meditating, calming his mind. Sense the mana flow and control it. He focused on Demidus's mana flow, trying to understand it. It was evident that he amplified his power by harnessing the magic power surging through his body. Jun Jung sensed the latent power. The name Mana Flow said it all. When channeled into attacks, their destructive force would be amplified to new heights, and when used to reinforce defensive armor, defensive capabilities would also be significantly enhanced. That was the extraordinary ability of Mana Flow. First, I need to use Mana Flow to recover, Jun Jung thought to himself. The system began activating the recovery skill. Soft rays of light gradually spread throughout Jun Jung's body. He suddenly felt a wave of discomfort wash over him. Jun Jung suddenly coughed up a mouthful of fresh blood. He wondered in a panic, are these impurities that have invaded my body caused by the Blood Dragon Stone? It must be a side effect of the Blood Dragon Stone. Fortunately, thanks to Mana Flow. Now, I just need to eliminate the areas tainted by impurities. Jun Jung slowly examined his body, but suddenly he realized the Mana Flow had been blocked. He was horrified to find his magic power encircling a strange black sphere. Jun cried out in terror. A black gem lodged in his throat was blocking the flow of magic. This is bad. I have to find a way to redirect the energy flow to another path. At the training grounds, two earth-shattering forces collided. The purple energy was being gradually overwhelmed. George unleashed a series of sharp sword strikes. Intrang raised her blade to block, struggling to defend. George lunged. Too slow. She was stunned. Slow? How could that be? Intrang immediately countered, unleashing a flurry of blade attacks. But George effortlessly dodged each one. The tremendous force scorched the ground black wherever it landed. She leaped high into the air, then swung her blade down with terrifying power. He cheered, exactly. Keep going. Fighting a person is completely different from fighting a monster. You have to understand that. In Trang stammered, I don't understand it that deeply. The determined girl swung her blade horizontally. George quickly ducked, dodging the sharp edge. A stream of azure, sword energy shot out from him, grazing the girl's cheek by a hair's breadth. She stumbled back. He offered, shall we call it a draw? In Chang felt dejected. I wasn't able to be of any help at the Kate Land Gate. She reminisced. The reason I wasn't summoned must have been because the patron couldn't understand me. In Chang remembered Jun Gyo's figure at that time. I couldn't even protect him. The White Horse Prince's message, his eyes filled with pity, surfaced in her mind. She recalled, and that's why I received that message from him. Despair washed over In Chang, even though I initially thought that. Lee Jun-gyo and I started from the same place. He's now so far ahead of me, while I'm stuck here, making no progress. I'm not worthy of being called his partner. She clenched her fist. And that was the reason Lee Jun-jae almost lost his life. It was all my fault. I still have so many shortcomings. Josh was wiping his sweat. He turned around as In Chang approached. Please, let's do it again. Josh turned. That expression, just like mine before. The torment, the regret of being unable to protect the one you love. Does Jong In Chang have to go through this feeling too? Surely she will become even stronger. He put down the towel. All right, let's try again. She told herself, I have to do the same. I have to be stronger, no matter the cost. After the training session, George entered a room. Blood bags and 4 drips hung on a stand. He remarked, clearly, when we were in the Kate Land Gate, I sensed her powerful potential for growth. But truly, she shouldn't be underestimated. George looked at his trembling hands, anxiety washing over him. She's truly extraordinary. Every time my sword clashes with hers, I feel her power growing more terrifying. He clenched his fists, just like he used to. Josh looked towards Demetrius, lying motionless on the hospital bed. He began to speak. I think you'll like this news. Looks like the weak underdog has finally woken up. Josh spoke softly, urging Demetrius to wake up soon. Seeing Demetrius still lying motionless, George was overcome with sadness. At the magnificent building, Song-gu walked slowly. He looked up. Jun Jae-young, shouldn't you be training? What are you doing here? He smiled slightly, his surprise evident. I can't believe you're able to walk again. You always surprise me. The two stood facing each other. Jun Jae-young replied. So? He put his hands on his hips. What do you know about lightning? Yoon-gyung calmly replied. This is the ultimate treasure of Mount Olympus, belonging to Zeus. He quickly explained. Exactly. Across the world, few powers can rival the earth-shattering might of Zeus's lightning. Of Zeus. Such extraordinary abilities are always coveted, relentlessly pursued. He suddenly spoke, interrupting him, like the ice hammer, Bifrost, that you possess. He asked in surprise, how did you know? With a worried expression, he said, Brother, there's something important I need to tell you. He looked around cautiously. This isn't the right place to talk. Follow me. Under a clear blue sky, dotted with fluffy white clouds and a vibrant rainbow, they stepped out the door and into the courtyard. Bathed in sunlight and the shimmering rainbow, the building looked even more magnificent. The fountain continuously sprayed white foam. He looked around and exclaimed, This is amazing. He explained, This is my personal domain. Curiosity was evident on his face. Are you a prophet or someone who could turn back time? Junji asked without hesitation, his voice firm. But I once read a book about you and your friends. His face suddenly darkened. It was a book about the one people called the Demon King. Junji's eyes widened in shock, the world around him seeming to freeze. The two stood facing each other in the schoolyard. He raised his hand, questioning. You want me to believe that? That I killed you? He quickly clarified. You didn't kill me. I just think you know everything that's going to happen. He thought to himself, this isn't a lie. A look of sadness briefly crossed his face. You even know about Athena and me dating? I have no choice but to believe you. Junji was lost in a sea of questions. So what you said about Bifrost is also true, right? But that book, it's incomplete. He exclaimed in astonishment. What do you mean? You need to elaborate. What's written in this book is only the beginning. I stumbled upon the rest, the future. Most of the information about you has been lost. What I know is just a small piece of the puzzle. Jun-gu insisted again. This is absolutely not a lie. His expression turned serious. I understand. So what's your real purpose? You reached out your hand. I want to change the future, the horrors we had to endure. From now on, a lot of things will change. According to the hypothesis in the book, Behemoth Frost can't distinguish between lies and truth. It can only assess whether someone is intentionally trying to harm him. You pressed your lips together, lost in thought. I'm sorry I can't tell you everything. Changing the future wasn't my original plan. The magnificent building suddenly. I'm perched on a tree branch outside Jun Jaeon's window, a bright, cheerful expression on his face. So, he actually is awake. He exclaimed in surprise. I can't believe you managed to sneak inside the round table. Is something the matter? He replied sincerely. Forgive my intrusion. I came here to ask you a favor. Underdog remained silent, lost in thought. I heard he begged me to protect him back at the gate. But there's no connection between us. He replied, Speak. He knelt on one knee, bowing his head. Please come to 9. This is all I ask. He was startled. The commander of 9 was kneeling before him. Just to ask him this? We just happened to meet and helped each other in that recent battle. So why? This is strange. He looked at Inefi standing outside the window. Why? A mysterious voice echoed from the shadows. Intruder alert. Yun trembled, thinking to himself, damn it, I've been discovered. He quickly realized the cause. Was the glowing bloodstone. He exclaimed, Please be quiet. He then hurried to leave. The boy stood silently, observing the outside. He pondered, if it's the bloodstone, he must be referring to the amnesia. Did this also happen in Egypt? The hunters shouldn't know about the bloodstone's existence yet. I need to rethink everything. They intervened immediately when they witnessed the transformation of Hercules. Suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed from afar. Imjang rushed in, panicked. Are you all right? He replied, Yes, I'm fine. For now. She was surprised. He had a bad feeling. I just overcame one obstacle. But it feels like I'm about to face an even greater challenge. The summit has officially concluded. The conference building is truly magnificent. Initiating the war was a grave mistake on Athena's part. He strolled leisurely through the grounds. Naturally, because Olympus unilaterally broke the treaty, they must bear the full consequences of their actions and a responsibility for starting the war. He said cheerfully, We finally get to go home. A voice suddenly called out from behind them. Before he could finish, she immediately recognized the familiar voice. Whirling around, she exclaimed, George! She quickly drew her sword, shielding him. Get back, Junseo asked worriedly, her eyes. Why are they turning purple? George appeared amidst a frightening aura of dark energy. His face darkened ominously. George stood on the steps, his eyes fixed coldly on Inkang and Jungeo. He reassured her, Inkang, don't worry, it's going to be all right. She asked, confused, what? Jungeo explained, though he remained cautious. Although he seems hostile, it seems like he wants to talk to us. Inkang looked up, her eyes shimmering with a shy glimmer. She sighed, I understand. The two men stood facing each other, the air thick with tension. George spoke, I've made a full recovery, but he hasn't. It seems this time, Demetriad has utterly failed. He added, his tone laced with insinuation. I must admit, thanks to you, I've learned a great deal, George said, looking directly at his opponent. However, next time I won't be defeated, his voice filled with determination. Jun Gi repeated, next time? Very well. A smirk played on his lips, but I'm not one to easily. His voice dropped low. Forget a grudge. He finished, his eyes cold and sharp. That bastard Josh, he muttered, his face contorted with anger. Asked me to pass on a message. He said he couldn't reach her. So, relay his inquiry for him. You mean Inkang? Jun Gi asked, confusion evident on his face. He turned around. She has potential. She could definitely become even stronger. George added, it seems she craves recognition. Reputation and prestige are important to her. But remember, understanding your patron is equally important. Think carefully about that, he concluded, about the true identity of his savior. Injang is confused. What's he talking about? Jun Gi confidently asserts, I told him that I aspire to become a white knight. She listens speechless and dumbfounded. George leaves, waving a friendly goodbye. He watches George's retreating figure, then suddenly turns back. Wait, what? Jun Gi gives a knowing smile. In the future, Hercules will transform into a ferocious monster, far surpassing his previous power. He will surely awaken again. George is utterly astonished. He continues, I told myself I'm not someone who easily ignores things that happened in the past. So next time, Jun Gi proposes, it would be amazing if we could fight side by side. He remains silent, observing them walk away. George clenches his fist tightly, then releases it. His expression turns serious. If what you say is true, then that's incredible. But the situation is dire. He's on the brink of death and about to be brought back to Mount Olympus. On the surface of the mirror-like lake, a small pebble is dropped, creating ripples that spread outwards. Jun Jiayong stands on the shore and drops another stone into the water. He's about to throw a third stone when suddenly a voice rings out. Hey, have you caused enough trouble? Jun Jiayong is startled as a flash of blue light streaks across the air. A girl with shimmering golden hair appears. I don't know who sent you to find me, the girl says, but this is going too far. Jun Jiayong calmly replies, You're Merlin, aren't you? The girl looks surprised. Oh, you know my name. It seems you're no ordinary person. He states firmly, the true leader of the round table, the magician Merlin. She asks curiously, And who are you? Jun Jiayong calmly replies, There's no way you don't know me. She grits her teeth. The one who defeated Hercules, underdog, an arrogant hunter. Merlin's eyes glowed with a mysterious blue light. You seem to know a lot about me. What is your purpose in provoking me? Emerald green magic enveloped Merlin's body. Suddenly, Merlin transformed into a young man. The young man's face was filled with rage. You should remember that in the round table, no one dares to defy me. Reveal your true identity. Jun Ji-I remained silent. I am. His voice turned icy. The one who holds the position of Excalibur. The one who holds the position of Excalibur. The other man was so stunned he couldn't speak. At the airport, Jun Ji-I was walking towards Inchong. She asked worriedly, Where have you been? He replied mysteriously, There's someone I have to meet here. Inchong seemed to realize something. Her gaze fell upon his necklace. Inchong stood up abruptly. And that necklace? Don't tell me you're going on a date with another girl? Jun Ji-I stammered, Well, that. The girl scoffed, Just as I thought. I knew you were. It's no surprise. With that look on your face, you're definitely hiding quite a few girls, aren't you? In Hyun's face fell. I can't believe you're such a player. The young man quickly defended himself. Actually, I only met with a girl due to a slight misunderstanding. Song-gu suddenly appeared, interrupting the conversation. Are you two ready? Jun Ji-I beamed. Song-gu, you're ready too. He replied casually. Yeah, you seem pretty happy to see me. Let's go home. As the group was on their way home, a voice called out from behind, Excuse me. He turned around. A strange man spoke. Merlin told me to tell you, just wait. He laughed menacingly. You'll pay dearly for that necklace. At the airport, Song-gu glanced at him and asked, How do you know Merlin? Jun Ji-I replied, We had a deal once. His gaze shifted to the necklace around Jun Ji-I's neck, a look of questioning in his eyes. Could that be Merlin's necklace? He asked. Jun Ji-I nodded slightly in response. Yes, I almost lost my life because of it. George's face darkened, his violet eyes flashing with anger. Tell me everything, he roared. A powerful aura enveloped him as he launched himself from the rooftop, landing back on the airport tarmac. Jun Ji-I rubbed his head, guilt evident on his face. Actually, he hesitated. I'm still no match for them, he admitted honestly. But this necklace is really important to me, so I took a risk. George smiled faintly and sighed. The plane soared through the vast sky. It flew past the city's towering skyscrapers. Inside the passenger cabin, Inchong sat beside Jun Ji-I. Still puzzled, she turned to Jun Ji-I. There are a few things I don't quite understand. He glanced at her, asking, What is it? It's about George, she replied immediately. Even though we were rivals, he diligently coached me and even favored me with valuable advice. If Hercules became like that because of the mistakes he made, lying immobile in a hospital bed, then I think I should have also incurred his wrath. It was only right. She looked up, lost in thought, questioning herself. But the way he helped me, and the way he interacted with me, it's like I don't really understand the qualities of a high ranker. He smirked, casually saying, Probably just intuition. She asked doubtfully, Intuition? She asked suspiciously, Intuition? Jun Ji-I calmly replied. It seems like he realized I had no intention of provoking Hercules. A voice echoed in the cockpit. We're about to land. Please fasten your seatbelts. A barrage of camera flashes went off. A crowd of reporters and photographers lined up, cheering excitedly. Underdog, underdog, underdog. He stared blankly at the welcome message on the large banner. Underdog defeated Hercules? He quickly explained. They only know you challenged Hercules to a one-on-one match, and that you won. Song-gu turned to tease him. Wave to them, why don't you? Jung-gu gently reproached. Why didn't you tell me beforehand? He chuckled and replied, Wanted to surprise you. Isn't this what you've always wanted? To be famous. Jung-gu smiled brightly. He He stepped out, waving with a bright smile on his face. The photographers cheered excitedly, their cameras clicking incessantly. The flashes from the cameras created a blinding light. Did he really beat Hercules? Didn't you say he was a monster? The mere mention of his name sends shivers down the spines of all of Europe. Wait, hasn't he only been a hunter for less than a year? Rumor has it, not even 6 months. Holy crap, you're saying he took down Hercules? No way. In an era where heroes are rising left and right, and naturally, the most sought-after hunter is the underdog. On a dark night in a desolate industrial district, he stood there with In-chong. She suddenly turned, looking at him questioningly. What are you going to do now? Jinwoo replied calmly. I still have a lot to do. He began to list. I have to repair my weapons, replenish my depleted items, and there's the hybrid crystal from the Blood Dragon Stone. Not to mention the side effects caused by the Red Tower Stone. Hyunmoo is still sound asleep. A pool of blood lay before him, the image of In-hai kneeling and begging flashing in his mind. Most importantly, I still have some business to take care of in Neen. He murmured, but the first thing I need to do. Junji suddenly turned around and said, is move. I've always dreamed of having my own place, ever since I was a kid, he said with a joyful expression. She thought to herself exasperatedly. Moving is the most urgent thing right now. She quickly replied, all right, it seems like you don't need my help anymore. There's something I want to say. He asked curiously, what is it? In-chong replied, from now on, I'm going to do things my own way. He looked a bit surprised. She explained, the raid with Lee Junji was really exciting for me, and it was an incredibly valuable experience. But after hearing what George said, I realized there are things I need to accomplish on my own. Night fell, and everything grew quiet. Junji sat in deep thought for a long time. In-chong quietly left. He smiled, thinking to himself, it seemed she had realized that Jang Dong-in would soon become extraordinary. The phone rang. He answered, hello. A stern voice boomed from the other end. Jun Jiang, it's me. Kim Soo-jeon speaking. Chairman Cho wishes to speak with you. He remained silent, listening intently. I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. His face darkened, suddenly remembering something. I forgot the most important thing. He suddenly remembered Odin. The top of the tower was a giant clock. George ran frantically, yelling, impossible! This can't be happening. He accelerated, running like the wind. Radiant energy engulfed the entire arena. That fist had unleashed the terrifying power. Dmitri trained relentlessly, throwing powerful punches in succession. He was breathing heavily, exhausted, sweat pouring down his face. Dmitri couldn't believe his eyes. He shouted out. He turned and called for George. He reached out a hand, his face etched with worry. What's going on? When did you wake up? He replied with a tone of astonishment. Why are you acting like this? Is this the first time you've seen a hunter defeated? He affirmed with certainty. You've never lost before. It's the truth. He cracked a smile. George thought to himself, something's changed. Whenever he's insecure, he usually overreacts. He looked at Dmitri with a probing gaze. But now he's strangely calm. He looks like he doesn't have a care in the world. Noticing the difference, he asked, what happened? He responded pensively. From the very beginning, it seemed like he never intended to be my opponent. He was startled, his eyes fixed on him. His eyes turned a fierce crimson red, and he retorted, now, I have completely mastered my rage. I can even harness its power. He looked down at his hand, a smug expression spreading across his face. It seems he's given me a priceless gift. Jun confidently declared about the future. Hercules will become a more terrifying monster than ever before. He will definitely awaken. He said cheerfully, it would be amazing if we could fight alongside each other. George grinned with excitement. Sunset descended, casting a somber hue over the desolate wasteland. Amidst the ravaged battlefield, a figure collapsed. A cold, sharp blade plunged into the ground. In the silent air, two beams of light suddenly clashed violently. In-jang was knocked back several steps. Her nimble feet came to a swift halt. She landed firmly. A mystical purple energy swirled around her, forming a sword. Before her stood Gong Yu, his face a mask of terrifying ferocity. She thought to herself, it must have been 3 days already. In-jang gasped for air, sweat dripping, her mind racing. What in the world? Was this colossal monster, straight out of hell? I feel like I'm facing Hercules himself. Its razor-sharp teeth exhaled scorching hot air, its power seemingly endless. Suddenly, the system notification popped up. Notification. Whitehorse Prince has provided support, restoring your energy. She pondered, worried she wouldn't be able to maintain the precious support from her sponsors. This monster must be exhausted too. but it showed no sign of faltering, coiling its arm for a devastating punch. The earth-shattering impact sent tremors through the ground. In-Jang nimbly leaped forward, dodging the attack. Then she swung her arm, gripping her sword, raising it high and slashing down. A sharp, clean cut slashed deep across the shoulder. The monster stumbled. She kept her sword raised, determined, saying, "I don't understand what saving a princess. Sleeping in a forest even means." Then, with all her might, she leaped into the air and plunged downwards. However, if any danger dared to threaten the princess, In-Jang roared with fury, "I will destroy them all." A powerful slash descended, creating a brilliant purple column of light. She lunged like lightning, aiming straight for the colossal red monster, her sword piercing its body. Blood gushed from the monster's mouth as it roared in pain. Immediately, it retaliated fiercely, swinging a fist surging with energy that slammed into In-Jang's left side. The shockwave rippled outward with intense force, sending her flying. In-Jang's body skidded across the ground, leaving a long trail in its wake. Exhausted, she lay motionless on the cold ground, her sword still embedded deep in her chest. Badly wounded, In-Jang staggered to her feet amidst the thick smoke. Her sharp eyes scanned her surroundings, assessing the situation. The red monster lay unconscious amidst the devastation. Her trembling hands supported her weakened body, but finally she gave in. In-Jang collapsed, surrendering to the ground, seeking a brief moment of peace. She thought to herself, "I'm done. Even if there were a magic potion, I wouldn't have the strength left to reach for it. Is this my fate, to die alongside this demon?" Suddenly, Hyunmoo appears out of thin air, holding a vial that floats in midair. He gently asks her if she needs the potion. Astonished, she exclaims, "Black Soldier?" A system notification abruptly pops up, interrupting the White Knight's endless boasting about her achievements. The White Knight bestows upon you a mysterious alias. The White Knight is about to reveal his true identity. Congratulations! You have received the alias Red Free. The sky gradually turns ruby red. The clouds drift lazily, as if half asleep. Junkie strolls over, stands before her, and asks with concern, "Are you awake?" She sits up, eyes wide with confusion. Where am I?" He smiles gently. "Where do you think you are?" "We're standing right in front of the gate." She's still disoriented, unsure of what just happened. "My body, I feel strangely invigorated. Did you give me some kind of elixir?" "Absolutely not. However, congratulations." He extended his arm. A surge of intense energy poured out, drawn into the circle of his arm. In-Trang was still bewildered and confused. "Congratulations for what?" In-Trang looked around, searching for something. "Oh, I almost forgot. I can't find my sword." Junji spoke up. "I had a premonition you would be killed." His gaze shifted to the monster, a silent affirmation. "But now, I no longer believe it's a monster." The red monster remained motionless, lying pathetically after the battle. She approached it, retrieved her sword, and expressed her gratitude. "I have earned a new title, thanks in part to your help." She gripped the hilt tightly and resolutely drew the sword. A new notification suddenly appeared from the system. "You have rescued Princess Ji Kui of the Goblin tribe. Goblin Sorcerer has been granted to the princess. Goblin Prince Ji Kui." The Goblin Sorcerer's punishment was about to be carried out. A brilliant emerald beam of light erupted, shooting straight up into the air before them. In-Trang stared at the pillar of light in bewilderment. The Goblin Prince, Jeek Pai, her sponsor, wait, it was a girl? The Crimson Monster, once a powerful, muscular figure, suddenly shrunk down, tiny as a miniature person. She was taken aback as it ran towards her and climbed onto her shoulder. "What was going on?" He explained, "It belongs to you now." It perched regally on her shoulder while she was still trying to process what had just happened. "Belongs to me? What do you mean?" He affirmed confidently. "Exactly. It's just like Hyukbang. Once again, congratulations. You now have a code name. You've officially become a true hero." The red monster, hearing this, became incredibly excited. And Trang observed it and wondered, "Why do I feel a connection to this little creature? It's kind of cute in a way." Junji offered a reminder. "Protect the princess and the White Horse Prince. Have you chosen a name for yourself yet?" Faced with the question, she replied, "Not yet." The small creature hissed, emitting strange, incomprehensible sounds. She still didn't understand what it meant. The tiny monster continued to growl in its throat. Suddenly, the girl realized what it was trying to say. "Are you asking for my name? Are you trying to say the word princess?" It responded in its own language. The system promptly announced, translating the little creature's inner thoughts. The White Horse Prince smiled, his face full of satisfaction. The entire sky of revelation seemed to be smiling at this comical situation. Jun Ji smiled faintly, lost in thought. She had won the confrontation with that goblin sorcerer. In Chong and the Black Soldier had similar ways of growing up. She continued to delve deeper. How did you get here? The boy reluctantly answered. Why do you ask? He carefully explained it to her. Cleaning the gate usually only takes about 1 to 2 days. But then the 3rd day passed, and she was still missing. She's aware of that. Jungyo, you're missing a crucial detail. I have something to report. Beware of that monster. A ferocious, 2-headed goblin, wielding 2 sharp blades, is approaching. He's encouraging you because you're the guardian of this gate. Come on, just one more left. Injang, filled with killing intent, was ready for battle. A powerful aura emanated from her, overwhelming her doubts. Ever since receiving the codename, her inner strength had grown significantly. She could feel the energy surging. Within the goblin leader, the 2-headed one, a smirk played on her lips. She decided to choose him as her opponent, a foe strong enough to test her heroic might. Injang lunged forward, charging towards the monster. From midair, she raised her great sword, intending to cleave it right between its heads. The princess suddenly jumped down, expanding back to her original size. Much to her astonishment, the 2-headed boss roared furiously, unleashing a terrifying wave of energy. It charged, slashing its sharp claws across the monster, inflicting 2 fatal blows. At the same time, it let out a powerful roar that echoed throughout the space. A system notification suddenly appeared. Congratulations! You have successfully defeated the final boss of the dungeon, the 2-headed goblin. Junjung was completely dumbfounded by this unexpected assistance. I guess we didn't need that prince after all, she thought to herself. Speechless, she let out a soft giggle. System announcement. The gate has been opened. Meanwhile, the White Horse Prince was secretly observing her every move, a mysterious smile playing on his lips. The fallen angel shook her head slightly, a look of displeasure on her face. She turned and spoke. What a surprise. What brings you here? She asked, her expression filled with astonishment. The young man made an offer. We need to go to China now. Will you come with me? Startled by the cryptic remark, she trembled, a sense of unease washing over her. Odin's audacious experiment had finally succeeded. He appeared, filled with exhilaration and joy, his eyes gleaming brightly. I wondered if that forbidden power would be activated. A mystical blue crystal suddenly materialized, but we cleverly bypassed it, thanks to the legendary Merlin's magical necklace. Therefore, I, Ijun, acknowledge your contribution. Notu, assuming Ijun, Ijun. The scene shifted to a magnificent, imposing castle. 2 figures stood on the roof, silhouetted against the vast expanse, gazing towards the distant horizon. Welcome to Asgard, which will officially join the secret organization that controls the Dark World. The Dark Warriors will continue to grow stronger until they achieve a complete and perfect form. He recalled the image of hordes of terrifying undead, although they cannot compare to the overwhelming power of the undead army. Under the command of that wicked king, we can still create 7 more formidable skull warriors to bolster our forces. Another trophy claimed. On his wrist, a bracelet with 2 skull heads made of bone displays his status information. The skeleton is currently inactive. He seeks out the blacksmith, Brock, and his spear is fully restored thanks to Brock's skill. Park J.E. Hyen, a greatsword engulfed in blazing flames, yet it harbors a fatal flaw. The sword can turn against its wielder, claiming their life. Memories flood back, thousands of skeletons marching in perfect formation within his mind. It's time to head to the most dangerous place on the planet, China. The nation of billions couldn't stop the invasion from the dimensional gates and has become a territory overrun by ferocious monsters. But it's also the only place where the person capable of restoration remains. Hyuk Byong, a middle-aged man, stroking his long beard, observes the battle from afar. And this brutal war will unfold on the land of, on the northern front lines, where a fierce battle raged. Countless orc soldiers, weapons in hand, advanced ferociously. Filled with bloodlust and unwavering determination, they charged into the fray. On the other side, the human army fought valiantly, defending their stronghold. Co. Jean recognized them as a pack of ferocious snow orcs. Another soldier exclaimed in despair, "Damn it, it's been 3 hours already. Suddenly, a small flame appeared out of thin air, beginning to smolder. Then the flame erupted violently, forming a massive wall of fire separating the two sides. The terrifying sight stunned everyone. The wall of fire gradually incinerated the snow orcs. They screamed in agony as the flames consumed them. As if realizing the source of the fire, the two soldiers turned to search. A few meters away, on a small hill, two figures stood silhouetted against the sky. Jun Jiai's right hand still pulsed with the lingering red energy he had just unleashed. His eyes glowed crimson. "You!" Zhang Yinchang and Song Gu approached the group of soldiers. Song Gu expressed his deep gratitude. "Thank you so much for saving us. But are you really going to risk crossing that?" He didn't hesitate, not even a flicker of fear in his eyes. "We are incredibly grateful for your bravery in defending our homeland. I also have a few words I'd like to send to the other side." He was lost in thought, a pensive expression on his face. "I know you defeated Hercules, but I can't help but worry. This is an impassable barrier. Not even the most advanced AI can overcome it. So, even if we wanted to, we couldn't go any further." He stood back, lost in thought, as the boy reassured everyone, "Don't worry too much. I have a plan." The landscape before them began to shift, a shimmering curtain of water appearing, separating them from the world beyond. "Let's discuss this together. Even using force to break it wouldn't even make it budge. It holds some kind of mystical power." Qin Shi Huang, cloaked and carrying his Rui Jingu band, looked curious. "What is this?" He answered, "It's a gateway. The entire territory of TR." The girl spoke of Sao's legendary gate, each word hinting at a hidden secret. "You'll see soon enough." Song Gu's hand gently touched the water's surface, sending ripples outwards. He announced, "From this moment forward," his eyes flashed a warning gold. "No matter what happens, I won't be able to intervene and help you." The water began to part from his touch, spreading wider. "Therefore, I will return here in 1 month." He added, "If you two can't get out, then I will return the following month. Every month, I will come to check. Do you agree to this pact? If all goes well, we'll be back on time." Song Gu expressed his hope. "I hope so." He watched them step into the watery curtain, his gaze fixed on their fading figures. He believed that he would always be the one to strive to keep his promises and to save as many lives as possible. He set off on his journey. His resolve seemed stronger than ever before. The weight of responsibility on his shoulders grew heavier. "So, let me share some of the burden you carry." Amidst the frigid, snow-covered landscape of China, the two walked through the biting cold, talking to each other. There must be someone in this cold wilderness. A Gongdu huddled deeper into his collar, giving a slight nod in agreement. His trembling breaths mingled with the icy air. "It's colder than I thought," he murmured with a worried expression. "If the temperature drops lower than predicted, it means things are progressing faster than before." Amidst the howling wind, a strange creature hidden within the blizzard caught his attention. It was a snow orc. She stepped forward, her hand tightening around her sword, her voice ringing with authority. "I need to warm up a bit, so let me handle this monster." Her sharp blade flashed, slicing through the snow orc's body. The creature's massive body was rocked by a terrifying surge of energy. There wasn't just one orc. They swarmed forward, ferocious as a pack of ravenous wolves. Enraged, they launched a simultaneous attack on the red-haired woman. She was ready to crush any challenger. "Fine, come and get me." They expected the orcs to fight to the death, but instead, they scattered in terror, as if encountering something truly horrifying. The young woman was stunned. The young man sensed the shift. Something had changed. Larger creatures were emerging from the thick fog. A demonic, horn-like tusk suddenly appeared. The system quickly displayed the creature's information. Frost bison, immune to freezing temperatures, possessing extraordinary regenerative abilities like all bison species. Its strength was equivalent to a B-rank hunter. Zhang Gil drew his weapon, his voice urgent. "Look out, it's a frost bison." Zhang Gil swung his sharp spear, bringing it down on the frost bison's head from above. Inchon also unleashed his full strength, slashing at another frost bison. Blue blood sprayed everywhere. The snow-filled space gradually returned to its former silence. The two stood amidst the carnage, frost bison carcasses lying at their feet. The young woman looked stunned. "What's happening here?" Facing him, the girl exclaimed in astonishment. Why are so many terrifying monsters gathered here? They not only possess incredible strength, but, he suddenly countered, but they're also incredibly difficult to control and subdue their ferocious magical energy. Are you worried about that? Yes, their attack patterns and behavior are exactly just like humans. He was certain about his speculation. That's definitely the gate. Things are moving faster than I anticipated. He made up his mind. I have to go. The snow fell thicker, blanketing the roadside trees in white. Two companions, despite the harsh weather, continued to press forward. The biting wind whipped at In Chong's face, making her uncomfortable. She grew impatient. How much longer do we have to walk? Junji calmly replied. If we walk, it will take about a month. In Chong exclaimed in surprise. What? A month? I said if we walk. Junji emphasized his previous statement. But we don't have that much time to waste. Then we'll have to find transportation. And our first stop. His gaze was drawn to the towering mountain range, shrouded in a frigid mist. He pointed towards the imposing peak of Bu Mountain. A sword was plunged deep into the frozen ground. Two figures huddled near a small fire, seeking warmth in the vast expanse. During a brief respite, Junji spoke. You stay here and keep watch. I'll scout the area. She and Gongdu agreed, nodding softly as they awaited his return. After a long search, he finally spotted two pristine white reindeer. They mounted the reindeer, racing through the raging blizzard. Together, they headed towards the hazy peak of Bu Mountain. Upon arrival, they stopped in a desolate and silent wasteland. A narrow path appeared distinctly in the barren landscape. In Jiang felt uneasy, a premonition telling her they were on the wrong track. She asked worriedly, Are you sure we're climbing Bu Mountain? Not sure. He replied curtly, It should be much colder here, but I feel strangely warm. She removed her thick cotton coat, continuing to question him. And I don't see any sign of what strange creature is approaching. He seemed to have anticipated everything, calmly answering. The master of this mountain is guarding this place. Countless questions immediately flew towards the one called the mountain's master. Is he human? His expression remained serious. Unchanged, he replied, No. The girl offered a few more guesses. Then, is it a monster? Or some kind of animal? He stuck to his original answer. Not that either. I don't know what to call that creature. His tone was calm. But we'll meet it soon enough. Leave the reindeer here. Let's go. The energy in his crimson eyes intensified. First, we must get past this barrier. What he saw was a dense energy barrier, as solid as a fortress wall, separating everything from the world beyond. In contrast to the freezing weather outside, the sky on the other side of the barrier was a clear, vast blue. The silhouette of a person wearing, small but resilient, Kong Hyojin stood proudly atop the skyscraper, lost in a sea of self-reflection. Ever since the mysterious spatial gates appeared, the world had descended into chaos and despair. Because I possess an awakened ability surpassing any artificial intelligence, I established Asgard, guided by the principle for humanity. From above, the city sprawled like a panorama, a bustling tapestry of people. Vehicles clogged the streets below. Every time I use my power to save people, I'm confronted with a harsh reality. Those without supernatural abilities, without magic, are inevitably cast aside. More accurately, only the resilient hunters who survive countless hardships and dangers are worthy of my protection. His face darkened with regret. Has Junjiang arrived in China? But I'm truly disappointed in that country. It hasn't met any of my expectations, only offering climate change disasters and rampant monsters. Then nothing in this world can satisfy me. A thought suddenly flashed through his mind. But the one who defeated Hercules, yet possesses no heroic strength. Could he be what I've been searching for all this time? He looked down at his palms, a sinister smile spreading across his face, followed by a cruel laugh. Kakik. Interesting. He licked his lips, a predatory gleam in his eyes, like a beast savoring its next kill. Realizing his dark thoughts, he quickly covered his mouth with his hand. Damn it, he told himself. I mustn't be so hasty. An aura of power emanated from him, accompanied by a sly grin. I must savor this delicacy slowly to truly appreciate it, because this is the final dish to satiate my hunger. The scenery abruptly changed. They were now standing in a strange land. The girl gasped in surprise. Oh. In Zhang said excitedly. Are we there yet? The boy immediately replied. Yes, this is mid-sentence. He suddenly stopped, his gaze fixed on a distant point, as if drawn by a powerful force. The weapon in his hand glowed brightly, its latent energy erupting fiercely. He stood motionless, enveloped in a brilliant red aura. Atop the treacherous mountain, tension filled the air. A group of mysterious figures appeared, armed with advanced weaponry, their faces grim and murderous. Upon seeing him, the girl drew her sword, ready to face the hunters. They're not human. They're not demons either. What are they? Do you know anything about them? He asked, his voice serious. They are survivors from old North Korea. The enemies were clearly surprised by his knowledge of their origins. They didn't expect him to know their true identities. How do you know who we are? Unwilling to prolong the confrontation, he stated his demand. I want to see the master of this mountain. The two members of a strange tribe looked doubtful, wondering how they knew about Seon-gun. They're truly dangerous. He roared in fury, raising his fist and declaring them to be cursed intruders. Everyone surged forward at once. Yoongi Isait, the young man, wanted no part in this. I don't want to waste time on meaningless brawls, he muttered, but it seems fighting is unavoidable. Yoongi lohaut reluctantly. A clear voice suddenly rang out, interrupting the impending fight. Uncle! He turned his head towards the familiar voice. A little girl stood in the distant grass, waving and smiling at him. Seon-gun spoke up. Invite them in. North Korea had vanished long ago, fading into oblivion. The catastrophic failure of nuclear experiments had transformed North Korea into a desolate wasteland. Just before the mysterious gates appeared, many North Korean citizens had begun migrating to South Korea or China to seek survival. Boeun gripped his sword, his eyes warily watching them. I ask again, he growled. How do you know our true identities? The boy remained silent, lost in thought. That's quite a perplexing question. Yunil quickly approached, her voice filled with reproach. Goodness, how could you treat Seon-gun's honored guest this way? What's going on? If they know about Seon-gun, then they would naturally know about us too, wouldn't they? He responded nervously. What if they're evildoers? Besides Seon-gun right now. His words trailed off, and they continued their hushed discussion. Yunil turned her gaze towards the boy. Then, she explained softly, he's always worried like this, because a long time ago, there were wicked people who came here and tried to harm Seon-gun. But fortunately, everyone here bravely fought them off. The boy looked down at Yunil and called her name. She responded instantly. The boy's expression suddenly turned serious as he stared intently at Yunil. She flinched, a flicker of worry in her eyes. In a magnificent and grand castle, people bustled about, strolling and shopping. A young man and woman standing nearby wondered aloud. That's strange. It's been quite a while since we've had any travelers visit, hasn't it? The young man exclaimed. Look at their clothes. How strange. Isn't the outside world supposed to be in ruins? In Trang, observing him, replied, there are about 200 of us, mostly hunters. You're pretty chatty for someone on the move. She answered while still walking. They're all fortunate survivors. After enduring a terrible catastrophe, he suddenly stopped. Gun, with a cold tone, looked at them and said, you are not allowed here. Zhang Jiai looked at the person pointing a spear at him and calmly replied, is this how you welcome guests? He continued, I'm not here to cause trouble. The master of this mountain, Lord Seon-gun, requested I escort us to meet him. Gun responded with a wary look. Even so, you are not permitted to see Seon-gun. Yumehel rushed forward. Oh my goodness! Gun looked down at her coldly. No, you understand his condition better than anyone. Junji-I watched him intently. Glowing red streaks spread, encircling him. What is Seon-gun's condition now? Could it be? Has something happened to him? You have no right to speak here. Gun instantly flew into a rage, ready to fight. An ethereal green light enveloped the spear in his hand. You bastard! Do you dare challenge me? Yunil roared furiously, then abruptly fell silent. He turned to look at the silent girl. Gun also paused, his gaze shifting towards her. Yunil commanded in an indignant tone. I, the mayor of Jeonji, order you to step aside. Gun immediately bowed his head and stepped aside. I apologize. I will obey your command. After regaining his composure, Yunil looked towards the two of them. Let's go, we're going to see Sanjian. The three slowly entered a tunnel, dimly lit by torches on either side. On the way, Junji-I suddenly asked in Chong, have you ever heard of the legend of Dangun? She looked puzzled and repeated, the legend of Dangun? What legend is that? The young man slowly explained. It's a founding myth that has been lost to time. People call it the legend of Dangun Wangham, the king who descended from heaven and founded Korea, our homeland. Inchong immediately wondered, "Why are you bringing this up now?" Junji led the way, excitedly continuing. This little girl could very well be a descendant, or have some connection to that legend. Suddenly, the little girl cried out joyfully and ran inside. Sun Gun, mystical blue auras spread throughout the space, emanating from deep within the tunnel. A pure white tiger was lying there. That aura, it's coming from him. Yuni cautiously approached, standing before the giant tiger, and said, "You are Sun Gun." Seeing Gun's eyes scrutinized the young man. "You dare defy the authority of my army? And it seems you know quite a bit about me." A rare and intriguing guest indeed. He slowly rose, each step filled with majesty. "Yes, I am Seeing Gun, master of the mighty Big June Mountain. Why have you sought me out?" Jin Chong was momentarily stunned by Seeing Gun's overwhelming presence. Such terrifying energy. Junji casually replied, "Chaotic." The curt answer silenced Seeing Gun for a moment. The young man continued, "The power protecting the sacred Mount Dekru, the power you wield, will soon fade. Am I correct?" Seeing Gun stared intently at Junji, his mind racing. Is teetering on the brink of death, because his magic is dwindling, and even mighty Big Do is crumbling. Seeing Gun looked down, his eyes sharp. "Who are you?" Junji calmly replied, "There's still someone who can help you, and it's not you I want to see." He slowly revealed the true purpose of his visit. "I want to meet the true master of this mountain." Sangun flew into a rage, roaring furiously. "How dare you?" His face darkened, impatience clear in his eyes. "You succeeded in imprisoning him, but there's no way. A dying man on the verge of death could be the true master of this mountain. Tell me, where are you keeping him? Then I will save both you and Johnny." Sangun glared at Zhang Haiyan furiously. The scene outside suddenly opened up to a clear blue sky. Jinwoo and Inchong were standing together on a small path under the shade of trees. Inchong finally voiced the questions that had been on his mind. "Tell me, what kind of monster is Sangun? You said he wasn't a monster." He smiled gently and replied, "Think of it this way. He's just like the deer we rode here, only he's a being on a much higher level." The boy recalled his journey with the girl and the two deer, then explained in simpler terms. After absorbing magical energy from the ground, released by the dimensional gate, both their personalities and appearances were transformed. The girl still seemed skeptical, but being able to communicate with humans and possessing such extraordinary power is unimaginable. Even his demeanor is different. He looked down, admitting, "You're right." But even before absorbing the magic, he was different from other animals. Have you heard of alpha species? They possess incredible physical strength, immense power, and superior intelligence compared to other species. Over the course of time, these potential alpha beings can ascend to become central figures in epics, legends, stories passed down through generations. Insung Jinwoo from Chugong's solo leveling is a perfect example of this. Continue your analysis. Is he only that amazing because he has a powerful benefactor backing him? Explain further. He could also be considered a type of hunter, and currently, he's gravely injured because of the invaders who occupied Mount Baekdu. The boy looked up at the vast sky and exclaimed, "He's not our only target. There's also that invader. You dare to harm him." Unglil stretched both hands forward, powerful surges of energy continuously erupting from her palms. Then suddenly she yelled, "World, open!" A blinding light tore through the clear blue sky, shining directly down onto the earth, stirring up a furious whirlwind amidst the silent mountains. Jun Jiaiyong and Inchong stood precariously on the edge of a deep abyss, silently gazing at the mystical stream of light. Then suddenly, they both leaped into the chasm. Inchong followed Jun Jiaiyong closely, jumping into the mysterious light. A powerful shockwave erupted immediately after their action. The young girl closed her hand, and the world around them instantly shut down. The strange light gradually faded away. Yunil breathed a sigh of relief, softly uttering, "Return safely." Immediately, an unexpected notification popped up. "You have entered the express gate, sealed territory." The two of them abruptly appeared in another tunnel, doubly dark and gloomy. Inchong, still in shock, wondered, "What's an express gate?" Jun Jiaiyong calmly explained while skillfully conjuring a small flame in his hand. It's a gate that appears inside another gate. Since both Korea and China are affected by gates, almost all gates here are considered express gates. In Hyong complained again, her voice laced with dissatisfaction. It's so hot here. It was freezing before. He just smiled in response to her whining. Think of it as training. Don't you see this will make us stronger? A skill notification unexpectedly popped up. It shimmered on the screen, catching their attention. White Horse Prince has sponsored the heat-resistant skill. A thought flitted across his mind. As expected of a hero, a true successor of the Oxford Prince, the skill Red Feet has been sponsored, without hesitation or embarrassment. In Hyong continued to grumble and complain. If only there was a cold resistance skill, too. In Hyong was quickly eliminating the monsters blocking their path. Her sharp blade sliced through their bodies. After defeating the last monster, she sighed and looked at him, her face tired. Finally done, she exclaimed, her voice relieved. 2 notification messages popped up in quick succession, grabbing their attention. Proficiency in Fire Control Fist has increased. Congratulations, you've leveled up. Yoongi smiled smokily, thinking to himself, just as I predicted. The Heavenly Pawn Gate, with its intense flame energy, is the perfect place for a breakthrough. Inchong looked up, hesitantly asking, but clan leader, that child, who is she? Could it be she's the one who created these sealed domains? He smiled and replied, yes, but to be more precise, she didn't create these sealed domains, but she has the ability to use them to imprison intruders. This is the heart of Bigju Mountain, where all the spiritual energy of the mountain converges. Seeing Gun's power also originates from here. Yoongi continued. That girl can control the energy of this entire mountain. She's the one who grants Seeing Gun his power. Inchong was stunned by these words, his jaw dropping. He blurted out another question. Then, doesn't that make Seeing Gun the strongest? The strongest one is Chief Unil? If that's the case, is it possible? He quickly interrupted, cutting off the story about the territory intruder. With a stronger seal, it's very possible. He's stronger than any ferocious boss we've ever faced. Injang's eyes widened in surprise as he realized something. But her name is Unil? Such a unique name. Jun Ji quickly denied it. No, I don't know her real name. Unil is just a nickname. She's a true hero. Injang's expression showed helplessness along with a forced smile. This world is truly vast and wide. One must overcome countless hardships to become a hero. Yet everywhere you go, you encounter a book titled Chanji Village, the ideal place for development, appeared before Junji. He gripped his spear tightly and charged forward, a thought flashing through his mind. Just as it was written in the Demon King's autobiography, it's rare to find such an ideal hunting ground. I need to rapidly increase my strength to prepare for any unexpected events that may come in the future. A terrifying explosion erupted, accompanied by towering flames, as he thrust his spear through the monster's body. Debris in the burning monster's carcass crashed to the ground amidst a thick cloud of dust and smoke. The notification panel reappeared, signaling good news. Flame control ability has been enhanced. You have leveled up. Injong placed her hands on her hips and let out a word of admiring praise. Your sponsor is truly extraordinary. Just how much did they sponsor you to become this strong so quickly? Jung-yu turned to look at her, a smile forming on his lips as he replied. In my opinion, even Prince Charming couldn't compare to you. Then he thought to himself, it's all thanks to the unique characteristics of the player. Suddenly, 2 blood-red notification panels blazed into view. The Revelation Sky let out a soft snort of disdain. The Revelation Sky displayed its majesty and bestowed its grace, granting a significant amount of stat points. A gentle halo emanated from his body, bathing him in divine light. A series of notification windows popped up, announcing incredible changes. The prince on the white horse smiled softly, exuding confidence. The Revelation Sky glared at someone with sharp eyes. The prince on the white horse stopped smiling and bowed his head in silence. He placed a hand on his forehead, letting out a dejected sigh. Meanwhile, Kang, standing behind him, looked on with admiration, exclaiming, wow, that's truly amazing. As for Songgin and Yinul, little Yinul stood before Songgin, anxiously asking, what do you think? Songgin replied indifferently, it's all right. Songgin was becoming exhausted, because he was using all his power to protect Mount Bitch, both Du and Chanji Village, and seal the invaders. His life force is dwindling. The young girl continued. I'm supposed to be the one sustaining Big Jim Mountain's energy, yet you're so gravely injured. Sangun, should I reclaim my power? Sangun looked at her in surprise. That's impossible. He continued. They are indeed powerful, but the invader is far more formidable. Yunil looked at him, questioning. Then why did you send them to the heavenly pond, Sangun? He looked down, pondering for a moment. Sangun continued. I can't see through his power. What I see is what lurks behind him. I sense a certain resemblance between him and the invader. Outside, the ground trembled violently. A barrier gradually materialized in the air. Ominous purple auras hovered in the tunnel, where Junji and Inchong were standing. She gasped. Is that the invader? A young boy stood silently before them, a violet aura continuously radiating around him. The boy looked at the two of them. His eyebrows slightly furrowed, a look of surprise on his face. Intrang quickly turned to ask the young man, that kid, could he be an intruder? The young man's face darkened. You're mistaken, he replied. His gaze was fixed on the boy, wary. That's not human. Don't judge a book by its cover. Intrang immediately looked back with heightened alertness. What do you mean, don't judge a book by its cover? She thought to herself. The dense violet aura continued to spread, gradually coalescing into the form of a white wolf. Intrang, both astonished and terrified, stammered, Can we even beat it? Suddenly, the boy's eyes flew open, revealing sharp fangs. He roared furiously and lunged to attack. Intrang was horrified. Before she could react, Gong Yu rushed forward to shield her. Facing the enemy, he let out a powerful, warning roar. The tiny creature suddenly extended its sharp claws, snatching Gong Du. A massive surge of energy erupted, threatening to crush Gong Du's small body. Witnessing the terrifying scene, Intrang screamed in worry. Princess! The sword in her hand suddenly glowed brightly. Intrang charged towards the tiny creature, weapon in hand. But the attack seemed to have no effect. The tiny creature counterattacked, and Intrang barely managed to block it. Fear filled her heart. Such terrifying power. Seeing the dire situation, Junjung immediately rushed to help. His eyes glowed crimson, and his body radiated powerful energy. He swung his spear, aiming directly at the tiny creature, but it swiftly flew up to dodge. From the air, the tiny creature created a giant claw and swooped down to attack Junjung. Sensing the danger, Junjung took a defensive stance, raising his weapon high. Waiting for the right moment, he yelled, focusing his strength for the counterattack. Hiya! The two earth-shattering forces collided, creating countless fireballs. The fierce battle set the sky ablaze. Suddenly, the system issued a critical alert. The apocalypse sky opened, observing all living beings with a deep, ominous gaze. In the peaceful village of Jongan, Yumiel carried a relentless worry in her heart. She commanded her subordinates, quickly evacuate the children and the elderly, take them to a safe shelter. Receiving the order, the subordinates replied in unison, yes, chief. After making the arrangements, Yumiel went to find Jian, who was diligently practicing martial arts. Seeing her approach, Jian stopped his training, came closer and asked, Chief, will everything be all right? Yumiel remained silent, unable to find an answer in her heart. A moment later, she spoke. Don't worry. If anything unfortunate happens, the Mountain Lord and I will handle it together. Now, quickly go and help everyone evacuate. Hearing this, Jian respectfully replied, yes, chief, as you command. Looking into the distance, Yumiel thought to herself, if we fail, even if we join forces, Mountain Lord and I couldn't stop him. The fate of Janji village now rests entirely in your hands. Thinking about that, the young girl voiced her heartfelt thoughts. So please come back safely. Beside a still lake in the forest, where the fierce battle took place, Gongju lay unconscious on the cold ground. And Kang, his clothes tattered and torn, was half kneeling, his face filled with worry as he watched over Gongju. As for Junying, he was pinned down, unable to move, by the sharp claws of that young boy. Seeing this, Kang cried out in alarm. Lead Junying. Hearing the shout, the boy tightened his grip, refusing to let his opponent gain the upper hand. Junying used all his strength, gripping the sharp claws and fighting back with everything he had. He gritted his teeth, mustering all his might, his eyes suddenly widening as if he saw something unbelievable. A system notification unexpectedly popped up on his status window. Lee Junying, level 54, traits, player, title, Goblin Slayer, spirit power, agility, 158 points. Strength, 171 points. Magic power, 167 points. Potential, 199 points. Control of 9th level fire spirit, spirit beast, black tortoise. The black tortoise's skill, bone spirit soul absorption, is currently inactive. System notification displayed. June worried that his magic power development had plateaued. Thanks to the mana flow, his magic power had grown significantly. However, June continued to ponder after a short while. Up until this point, the mana flow had remained at level 1, including his fire spear control. They didn't seem to show any signs of improvement within the heavenly pawn. June struggled to find a solution to this perplexing problem. Lost in thought, a new notification suddenly popped up from the system. Mana flow has been upgraded. At that moment, June was jolted awake, a surge of power washing over him. A torrent of energy radiated from his body. Witnessing this miraculous transformation, the young boy was stunned. Its jaw dropped in awe as June not only escaped its clutches, but also underwent a spectacular metamorphosis. Breaking free from the hold, June Jiang clutched his chest, breathing a sigh of relief. That was close. He observed the flow of magical energy, activated in a situation, hanging by a thread, close to death. As he reached out to cast his magic, he hesitated slightly. But the monsters I've encountered recently haven't really posed much of a threat. June Jiang deftly grasped his weapon, continuing his thought process. With this monster, I think it's entirely possible, though it might be a little late. He felt the magical energy spreading, enveloping every cell in his body, a feeling like being reborn. The power within his spear seemed to significantly increase. June Jiang was now ready, able to return to the fight. Seeing this, the small monster crawled on the ground, shifting into an attack stance. June Jiang hurled his spear towards his opponent with a warning. This is going to hurt. Launching himself into the air, he yelled, "Sky Flame." Suddenly, an achievement notification popped up. Unbelievable. You have successfully mastered the Sky Flame skill without any assistance whatsoever. You will receive a massive amount of experience points based on this extraordinary achievement. Witnessing his teammate grow stronger, Kang exclaimed, "What's happening?" She quickly condensed the surrounding space, trapping Li Jungahong in a distorted spatial vortex. In that moment, Jungahong suddenly lunged forward to attack the boy. The boy immediately retaliated. Energy from both sides erupted, clashing like fire and water. When the two forces collided, a cataclysmic explosion rocked the area. The force of the blast was so powerful that it shook the entire vicinity. The boy was sent flying by the explosive pressure. The system continuously issued notifications. Fire control skill has reached level 10. You have achieved the title Fire Ruler. Control authority has shifted to the Monarch harmonization state. The violent collision created a massive pillar of fire, like a volcano erupting fiercely. Within the raging inferno that engulfed Van Afghan, Kang witnessed the scene, his face etched with horror. Van Afghan appeared unharmed, but instead seemed to be merging with the intense flames. Yeong Yihun cautiously approached, observing the situation. Amidst the sea of fire, Van Afghan growled, emitting a terrifying threat. At that moment, the Demon King's memoir suddenly appeared. The words, "I crossed the flames," materialized. Zhang Jiahun thought, no matter what, with the source of its power, this beast surely cannot defy me. The book continued to reveal information. It is a wounded beast. Its eyes, once filled with rage and pain, now hold only endless sorrow. Suddenly, the beast opened its eyes wide, its gaze softening. The next line suddenly appears in the memoir, as if whispering, "Soon, it will find its true master." The image of Van Afghan alone amidst the raging inferno exudes loneliness and pity. June Jiang is lost in thought, his gaze fixed on the distant sky. The system suddenly issues a warning. The apocalypse sky, with a stern gaze, is observing June Jiang. Surrounded by a sea of flames, the two sides silently confront each other, sizing each other up. A notification window suddenly pops up. The apocalypse sky grants a connection. June Jiang approaches Van Afghan, gently placing his hand on its forehead. Van Afghan closes its eyes, obediently submitting to his touch. The system continues to relay information. The apocalypse sky is watching the stray child and the docile beast that lies beneath his hand. He begins to analyze the situation. Although it currently appears harmless, It was once one of the most ferocious demons, wreaking havoc across the world alongside the Demon King. It was a loyal ally, a fanatical follower of the Demon King, whom the Demon King considered his own child. The memoir suddenly displayed information about the Snow White King, ruler of the beasts, lord of the divine beast fawn, the moniker by which the world knew him. Reading this, he involuntarily blurted out a name, Fenrir. The system immediately offered a new proposition. The link has been upgraded to Divine Subjugation. The Divine Subjugation feature is now ready. Would you like to activate Divine Subjugation? Meanwhile, in the peaceful village of Janji, Yunil placed her hand on the ground, lost in deep thought. The tremors have stopped. Is it finally over? Suddenly spotting two figures in the distance, she cried out joyfully, "You've returned safely." Both of their clothes were ripped and tattered. Jun Jung was carrying an unconscious boy in his arms. Upon seeing the boy,